Ever been embarrassed? Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. What you up to now? Day 907. Documenting my journey as I go from the offline brick and mortar world to the online world of business. Sharing that journey every day. I am visually challenged these days, so my writing and journal days and being able to read them and use them as a useful tool of keeping track of what I'm doing has gotten more challenging. And as such, I decided a couple of years ago now that I would start just keeping a daily vlog, a daily video blog of what am I doing, what's working, what's not, what's embarrassing, what's successful and what's not. And I'm probably for the last year plus, and actually for decades I've been doing challenges, but I've been doing online challenges as my way of just giving back and adding value to the world. I love challenges. I've been doing challenges my entire life, and I started probably 20 years ago or so, maybe longer. I'd have to go back through my notebooks and look. Doing challenges with other people, involving other people, and having other people help me with my challenges and doing them with them in all areas and aspects of my life. You know, there's 7 main areas of our life. Learned this from Tony Robbins, Chase, back in the late 80s, probably. No, 80s. Back in the early 80s, I learned this. That there's 7 main areas of our life, and if we ignore any one of those areas, at some point it'll wake us up and get our attention, especially if we ignore our health. And that's my personal experience, because I have had lots of health challenges throughout my life, and every time I'm not paying attention to my health and my good habits, guess what? Boom, something happens. Right now with COVID-19, I'm not blaming COVID-19, but I'm saying I let myself off the hook on some of my good habits. Now I'm having knee challenges. One of my knees is just irritating the daylights out of me because it's giving me pain signals telling me, hey, you didn't pay enough attention to me during COVID-19, so I'm going to wake you up. So now I'm working that out this summer to get my knee back in shape so that it doesn't irritate me, it doesn't hurt. And by pain, I mean it's giving me enough pain signals to irritate me or break through my subconscious into my conscious level. Could go on for days talking about chronic pain, because I've had chronic pain since I was a kid, and how I've had to learn to cope and deal with that so I could still live the life that I wanted to. I wasn't going to let it stop me. Let it stop me in my early 20s for a long time, way longer than I care to admit. And it took me years to wake up and fix that in my life and reclaim my life. And I said on one of my videos the other day that it took me 3 months in 2017 when I was bedridden with some inflammation challenges. But it actually was only 3 weeks before I was out of bed and rolling again. Probably 3 months till I was back to 90+%. But it was only 3 weeks. So from like 3 years to 3 weeks, I'd like to think that I get better and better and better at solving problems as I go through my life, but not always, right? Some issues take us longer than others. So my question today is embarrassed. Have you ever been embarrassed? Hello, who hasn't? Challenge today was about egg on your face. So, you know, here I am. I used to be embarrassed to even ever make a video, and now I'm, ouch, freaking eggs on my face for my Supersize Your Business video. I mean, whatever. I guess they're hard-boiled eggs. I wasn't going to use raw eggs because I don't know about you, but I hate it when I drop an egg on the floor. Can't imagine having it on my face. I think when we were teenagers, we made those egg and different mixtures and put them in our hair. Only probably once, trying to wash that slimy yuck out. So who among us doesn't get embarrassed? We all get embarrassed. So that was Supersize Your Business was about what do you do when you're embarrassed or you make a mistake? How do you fix that? What do you do about that? How do you use that to build and grow your business? And I didn't even remember to say, hey, that's how you relate to your customers, because all of our customers have usually been in the position that we were also once in, and when they know that we've been there too, they're a lot more likely to believe and know that and trust we actually can solve a problem for them. So we can even take something as difficult as embarrassment and humiliation and being mortified and use that to make our life better. So that was Supersize Your Business. Get Up and Go Challenge today was about taking 100% responsibility. Can you imagine? We should take 100% responsibility for anything, like maybe our lives. Yes, absolutely. So that's one of my favorite topics. And for the preliminary days between Get Up and Go challenges, we had like, I think 12 days before August 1st challenge starts. So I want to do something. I don't want to just leave a gap and leave people hanging. So we're doing a top 10 lessons learned day, and I don't know if they're the top 10, they're just 10 that I brainstormed, 10 things that I find myself thinking about, talking about, and working on all the time. So I figure if I'm working on those things all the time in my life, they probably are applicable to other people as well. And one of those areas is making sure to take 100% responsibility for myself, for my thoughts, for my feelings, for my actions, for my choices, for my decisions or my lack of decisions, for my procrastination, for my whatever. I know that if I take responsibility for that and realize that I have control over those things, and I control the things I can control. Can I control the weather? No. My granddaughter's working on a weather controlling machine. She's 5. But we haven't figured that out yet. So, can't control the weather, but I can always control my response to the weather. You know, my kids, I laugh. My kids are huge outdoor people. And so they would, first thing in the morning, they check their phones because they've had cell phones for their life. Us, we never had that. We had to go look out the window or turn on the news, which was never accurate anyway. I would love a job or an occupation where I can be wrong 90% of the time, or heck, I can be wrong all the time, and I still have my livelihood. I still have my job. I can still do what I want. There aren't very many occupations like that, or roles in our lives like that, right? Although I guess some people would contend that as parents we're wrong most of the time. We just still raise great human beings. So what you can control, we always have responsibility for that. And the more responsibility we take and claim as our own, the more freedom and the more personal power that we have in order to impact our lives. So that was the Get Up and Go Challenge preliminary topic going into the August 1st through 31st free, of course, 30-day Get Up and Go Challenge. And it's all about knowing with 100% certainty what you need to do next. Because it doesn't matter what the world does next. You can't control the certainty of what the world's going to do ever. None of us individually can. Even powerful people can't, right? There's too many variables. But we can control how we're going to respond to everything and how we are going to come out. And in 31 days, guess what? For 30 days, you can make massive changes and massive improvements in any area or aspect of your life that you so choose. Somehow we're led to believe that change is so hard and so difficult and it's impossible. It's a crock. We actually change, and you know, the 1-minute manager and all this, we don't. We actually change in an instant. And the only time we change our mind or change our thinking is in the now. So that's instantaneous, right? It doesn't take any amount of time at all. I could get into my discussion about time being a construct, but I'm not going to go there because that goes way over my head and a lot of other people's heads as well. So, and it's just a strange way of looking at things and a different belief that I have based on the experiences I've had in my life. Now, we need things like time and mathematics and language so that we can interact with other human beings and build relationships and have amazing experiences in our life. Today was 198th day of our 365-day fun challenge. Obviously, I like challenges. I'm always doing one. Fun challenge, and I think I've shared this before. I started doing that particular challenge and its predecessors, which were do one thing that you love. No, that wasn't right. Do one thing that makes you happy every day. And before that was one thing every day to stretch your comfort zone. I started doing those to make myself, to convince myself, to con myself into doing a live video every day. People say, oh, it's impossible to do live video. Live videos are so hard. No, they're not. They're easy. They're so easy now with the technology. If I, at 60, can do live videos, there isn't anybody on this planet that can't figure out how to do live videos. If you have a cell phone and an internet connection, you can do live videos. And you don't even need an internet connection. You can do the video on your phone, and then you can upload it where you find an internet connection. Does technology and do things change all the time? Yes, every single day something changes, which is part of why I like to do a video every single day, because then I stay up to date on the changes of the different platforms. Otherwise, if you haven't been on a platform for a couple of weeks, you go in and it's different, you freak out because you're like, oh my God, this doesn't look like or doesn't work like it did last time I was on here. But if you're doing it every day, you realize how often the platforms change and how easy it is to figure out what you want to do on it when you have little changes a little bit at a time. But if you haven't been on something like, I'll give you an example. I am a ClickFunnels person, and I haven't been in ClickFunnels, I shouldn't admit this, but for at least a couple of months. I think it's been at least 2 months since I've been in my ClickFunnels account. I'm not one of those people that checks my stats and does something in there every day. Number one, there's too much going on in there and it would be overwhelming, and it's not important to what I'm doing right now, especially during COVID-19. It's not important to me. I'm not living for my statistics and numbers. So I've been in there for like a couple of months, and I went in yesterday to create a new funnel for, amazingly, the Get Up and Go Challenge. And I have a funnel set up in there that I started like 2 months ago, and I never did it. I didn't do it because I'm like, I don't need a funnel for this challenge. I'm just doing a free challenge. I don't need a funnel. But now I've done it a couple of times for like a month, and then for 40 days. Now I'm going to do another month in August. So I'm like, all right, I want to start actually making it a system so that I don't have to recreate or reinvent the wheel every time. Now, I don't do the same challenge every time, which is different than a lot of people that do challenges. Most people that do challenges are just doing a challenge as a way to introduce their products and services to you, to sell you their products and services. I do challenges to help me and to help you and to make my life better and hopefully make your life better. And I am trying to think, I've offered something a couple of times at the end, but I almost never do. If you or anybody else wants to work with me after working on one of my challenges on a more consistent basis, you just have to ask. You just direct message me. And that's a very soft offer, a very soft opportunity, because guess what? As I'm getting older, don't want to work with a lot of people. I only want to work with the people that want to work with me. I only want to work with the people that realize how much I can help them on their own. I'm not going to sell or convince or connive or manipulate or take away my content or create false scarcity and lack when it doesn't really exist. That's one of my pet peeves with this new challenge launch method. It's like, all right, we're going to put it up there for a short period of time, then we're going to take all the content away, and then we're going to pop it up in another Facebook group. Talk about a way to clog Facebook, right? Let's change the name and change our content, and they're not even changing their content. They're using the same content over and over and over again. Again, that's my personal view of the whole lack and scarcity thing. It's built to make our world a worse place, not to make our world a better place. It's built to get short-term results and short-term sales, not to create long-term value in the world. Again, another topic I could talk about. So that is part of why I started the challenge, was to get me over my fear of doing live video. And now, you know what? Are there days I don't feel like doing it? Yes, there are lots of mornings I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do videos today. But I've been doing them so long, for so many days in a row. I think today's day 907. I did miss a day in my What's She Up To Now Christmas Day. I missed this last year in 2019 because I had the flu, some kinds of the flu. I keep telling people I think it was COVID because it has all the symptoms. And by the time I went to the doctor, they didn't even give me a influenza test, which it wouldn't have mattered anyway because it was before they knew about COVID being here in America. So I got to wondering, I was talking to my daughter yesterday and she was going off about COVID, and I was like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't think we know enough. I don't want to speculate. And then we got in the discussion of, well, geez, maybe we all had it in the end of the year, beginning of the year. And that's why it feels like everything's crazy and unnecessary. But it's not unnecessary, because some of us have ICDs and some of us have health challenges where we just need to be responsible and be careful and be taking care of ourselves, which, you know, some of the things we're doing now, let's be honest, we should have been doing them all along. Although I do think that the plexiglass industry has probably been a huge boon. COVID's probably been a huge boon to industries like that. Just think, rubber gloves, Lysol, toilet paper. There's so many industries that have just benefited so greatly by this pandemic. Even though there's many that have lost, there's still others that have definitely won in a big, incredible way that they probably wouldn't have otherwise. It just goes to show you the world is unpredictable and you never know what's going to happen, so you can be prepared as best you can. And mostly it's about being mentally prepared and mentally tough and believing and knowing and certain that you can figure it out, right? It isn't about stockpiling and having a ton of stuff available. It's just the stuff. It's about being mentally prepared to know that whatever happens, I'll figure it out, because we always do, right? You wouldn't be listening to me if you hadn't figured everything out in your life so far. You wouldn't hear my voice at all. because you wouldn't have access to a phone or an internet. That in and of itself puts us light years ahead of the vast majority of the population on the planet, right? How many people don't even have access to clean water and food, much less the gift of a cell phone and all of the other material things that we have access to? We need to be grateful for those things, and then we need to start getting rid of all those things we don't need and getting them to the people and the resources, and sharing those resources with people that can use them. All right, so what am I working on today? I'm going to try to, with my granddaughter, hop into my funnel and do a little more work on that. I just want to get a little bit of a funnel out there to show people, yeah, I do know how to do that. Haven't been doing those things very much. I definitely don't love doing them for other people, but I do love teaching other people how to do them and how to use those tools to make their life easier as they transition from the brick and mortar world to the online world. That is the reason I started this whole blog, was to talk about my journey through that. And guess what? I tried a whole lot of things. Some worked, some didn't. And if I can shortcut your process so you don't have to make the same mistakes I did, that makes my heart happy. So that's it. That is what I've got today. Go out, make it an amazing day. If you have a question, if you're struggling, if you're stuck on something and you don't know who else to turn to, please ask in the comments below. I might not know the answer, but I will know how to help you get to the right resource or the right person to be unstuck. Have an amazing day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.